Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday evening devotional. This is Mike McDaniel, the evangelist of the Central Church of Christ in Caruthersville, Missouri. Glad that you're watching today. Thought I would speak to you about wisdom versus foolishness. Proverbs 10 and verse 1, the Proverbs of Solomon: a wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. Someone wants to find a proverb as concentrated common sense of countless centuries crammed into a single sentence. I like that. These proverbs are inspired of God, and this means we have heavenly wisdom lying within these verses. We are studying Proverbs on Sunday morning. We're enjoying that very much. In chapter 10, there are some great contrasts in Proverbs. The Bible is filled with inspired contrasts which man should consider. Jesus often used this method in teaching eternal truths to mankind. The Bible student remembers how he contrasted a narrow way with a broad way. Matthew 7:13 and 14. A wise builder with a foolish builder. Matthew 7:24 through 27. And a penitent publican with a proud Pharisee. Luke 18:10 through 14. In like manner, Solomon used hundreds of inspired contrasts throughout the book of Proverbs. A good example of this method of teaching is found here in the 10th chapter of this book. Notice the contrast in this chapter between wisdom and foolishness. Solomon opens the chapter by contrasting a wise son who brings his parents happiness with a foolish son who brings his parents shame. Proverbs 10:1, a wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. What we do as sons and daughters can affect the happiness or the heaviness of our parents, both while under their roof and after we leave it. The prodigal son of Luke 15 surely brought heaviness to his family upon his foolish departure and throughout his waywardness, but he brought happiness upon his return. Solomon says in Proverbs 10:4 and 5, he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is the son that causeth shame. Well, these verses stress the basic principles of good business management. We might speak of running a tight ship. What does that mean? Well, it means a person keeps tight control over all aspects of their business. They are diligent. They make money. What would it mean to deal with a slack hand? It would refer to a lack of diligence, a lack of attention. He becomes poor. The diligent person is a wise son. In calling to serve him, you will find God calling busy people. Elisha was plowing when he was called. Of the apostles, the fishermen were working. Matthew was sitting at his place of toil. Even Saul was busy, though he was persecuting Christians. Wise sons gather in summer. In other words, they seize opportunities. There is a similar statement found in Proverbs 10:26. As vinegar to the teeth and as smoke to the eyes, so is the sluggard to them that send him. Vinegar sets teeth on edge. Smoke makes eyes hurt. Likewise, the sluggard's ways can be a cause of discomfort and aggravation. How untrustworthy and unreliable is a sluggard who is sent on a mission. An illustration of that proverb is found in 2 Samuel 20 and verse 5. This is something that occurs in the aftermath of Absalom's rebellion against David. General Joab has crushed the rebellion and assassinated Absalom against David's orders. David then desired to remove Joab from the army's high command. In 2 Samuel 20 and verse 1, Sheba begins to lead a second rebellion against David. David offers the leadership of the army to Amasa, whom David forgave for siding with Absalom. 2 Samuel 19:13. He then gives him this order. In 2 Samuel 24, then said the king to Amasa, assemble me the men of Judah within 3 days, and be thou here present. But notice what happens. So Amasa went to assemble the men of Judah, but he tarried longer than the set time which he had appointed him. 2 Samuel 20 and verse 5. Speed was of the essence, but Amasa acted foolishly and waited around too long. And then David regretted his decision and put Abishai in charge. In verse 6, David said to Abishai, now shall Sheba the son of Bichri do us more harm than did Absalom? Take thou thy Lord's servants and pursue after him, lest he get in fenced cities and escape us. So Joab goes with Abishai his brother. And later when Amasa catches up to them, Joab murders him. Later Sheba will be dead thanks to Joab's drive and diplomacy. And once again Joab will be back in the saddle as commander-in-chief. Amasa certainly was vinegar to David's teeth and smoke to his eyes. We can hear the irritation and the alarm in David's voice as he spoke with Abishai. Surely Solomon was familiar with this incident, may have even thought about it when he wrote Proverbs 10 and 26. Solomon continues his contrast of wisdom and foolishness by describing the wise man as receiving God's commandments and the foolish man as ignoring them. Proverbs 10 and verse 8 says, the wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall. What Jesus said in Matthew 7:24 through 27 is an excellent commentary on this verse. The wise builder heard and heeded. The foolish builder heard and heeded not divine counsel. And because he has received the word of truth and built his house on the bedrock of God's word, the wise man will be able to withstand the storms of life. However, the foolish man will fall when the winds begin to blow because he has ignored God's instructions and built his house on the sand. And Solomon continues contrasting the wise man and the foolish man. He points out differences in their speech and focuses in on the use of the tongue. He pictures the wise man as carefully controlling the words that he speaks, and the foolish man is carelessly speaking. Wise men lay up knowledge, but the mouth of the foolish is near destruction. Proverbs 10:14. He that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that utters slander is a fool. Proverbs 10:18. And in the next verse, in the multitude of wants, there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. Proverbs 10:19. Wise men do not tell everything they know, but a fool opens his mouth and blurts out all he knows. It usually does not take him long to tell all he knows either. He will lie and slander other people. Proverbs 10:19 is such an important statement. The more a man talks, the more likely he will sin with his lips. How important it is that we bridle our tongue. I cannot speak, said Moses when God first called him. And yet why was he kept out of Canaan? Psalm 106:32 and 33 says, they angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sakes, because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips. If one of God's greatest servants could forfeit Canaan for speaking hastily, how serious this sin must be in the sight of God. James 1:19 says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Solomon further contrasts the wise man with the foolish man by pointing out how they look at sin. The wise man recognizes the seriousness of sin, while the foolish man considers sin as a sport. Proverbs 10:23 says, "It is as sport to a fool to do mischief, but a man of understanding hath wisdom." Sin is a laughing matter to the foolish. It becomes their enjoyable sport. You think for a moment of those who parade themselves before the entertainment world as comedians or comedians. If you've ever seen some of them, how much of their material is designed to get laughs, and yet it's on the side of the obscene, the immoral, the profane, and the irreverent. If many of them were made to major in wholesome and healthy humor, their joke writers would be out of so much material they'd be out of business. Fools delight in sin. Wise men delight in wisdom or truth. Wisdom versus foolishness. A lot of wisdom here in Proverbs chapter 10, isn't it? Thanks so much for being with us today for our Wednesday evening devotional. Tell other people about it, will you? Until next time, have a good day.